Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Arjun, and in this video, I'm going to review the new F1 movie. As you can see, I'm not at college anymore. I came back home in June, and I have seen quite a few movies that I want to review over the last month. I just haven't gotten a chance to review those yet, so this is going to be my first video after coming back home. But like I said, I'm going to be talking about the new F1 movie, and this is a movie that I didn't have many expectations for. It wasn't even on my radar, really. I really only went and saw it because I saw a bunch of good reviews for it, similar to Sinners, because Sinners was a movie that was kind of on my radar. I knew Ryan Coogler was directing it, but I wasn't particularly excited for it, so I wasn't going to go see it in theaters, but the reviews were really positive, so I ended up going to watch that movie. And it's kind of the same with F1, honestly. This was a movie I wasn't excited for. I was honestly less interested in it than I was for Sinners. But then the reviews came out. Obviously, it's directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick. So that was a little interesting to me, so I wanted to see what it was all about. But before I share my take on this movie, guys, let me know down in the comments if you've seen this movie. What did you think about it? What were your expectations going into it? I'd love to know your thoughts. With that said, I'm going to get started talking about what I thought. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. This is not the most original sports movie. It's not a very original movie. On a story level, a lot of things that happen in this movie are very predictable. But at the same time, I think this is a movie that delivers on everything that you actually want from it, everything that you expect. The racing sequences are absolutely fantastic. The score is by Hans Zimmer, and it is incredible. The score for this movie is so much better than it had any right being, because I just love the score for this movie. It has fantastic cinematography, especially during the racing sequences, but even the other scenes, the movie's just shot fantastically. And in a lot of ways, you can see the similarities between this and Top Gun Maverick. Obviously, story-wise, they're different because they're different kinds of movies. But at the same time, the way it's shot, even the way the characters and the character arcs play out, it is very similar to Top Gun Maverick. So the movie follows a character named Sonny Hayes, played by Brad Pitt, who's absolutely fantastic here. He plays your average kind of Brad Pitt character. He doesn't have anything interesting that pops out about him at first, but as you watch the movie, you kind of see he's just very charismatic, and he has a very similar character to kind of what Tom Cruise has in Top Gun Maverick, where he's this older kind of veteran dude who's done racing in the past, and he didn't exactly succeed, and he's coming back and giving it another chance. And then you also have the rookie character here, who's played by Damson Idris, and I think he's fantastic. He's kind of been a breakout star. A lot of people have started talking more about him after this movie, and I didn't know much about him. I know he's in a show called Snowfall, but that's really all I know about him. I don't know anything about him besides that. I've probably seen him in smaller roles in other movies. I just can't really remember. But here, since he's given a relatively front and center character, he's really good. I think he's able to work off of Brad Pitt really well. They have really fun back and forth. As at the beginning, they start off kind of hating each other. They don't like each other. They don't want to work together. But when you get to the end of the movie, their relationship kind of grows a lot, and I think both their banter is kind of at the forefront in the whole movie, and I think they work really well off of each other. And like I said, their whole dynamic is very similar to Tom Cruise's and Miles Teller's dynamic in Top Gun Maverick. It kind of works hand in hand, I guess. And it's not necessarily something that you wouldn't expect. The movie doesn't take any twists and turns between their relationship. It kind of just does what you expect in a really good way. This is a movie, no pun intended, it's very formulaic. It follows a formula, it just does it really well. It's the best version of a formulaic film, is I guess how I would put it. There's obviously other characters too. The standout for me was Javier Bardem, who plays Brad Pitt's best friend, who kind of pulls him back into the racing thing, or F1 racing thing specifically. And he does a good job working off of Brad Pitt. You can tell that these guys have worked together in the past. You can tell they're really good friends. And when you watch the beginning of this movie, when he's having that conversation with Brad Pitt's character, and he's like, "You need to come back, I need you," and all of that, it works really well. And I think because of that, the ending of the movie also pays off really well. A lot of people were talking about Kerry Condon's character, who plays love interest for Sonny, and a lot of people don't really like that whole love story dynamic going on in the movie. I think it's fine. Did it really have to be in the movie? No. it didn't. I think it kind of took away from some of the screen time, and I think the movie's kind of long, and I think if you cut that out, it wouldn't be a big problem. At the same time, I don't think it really weighs the movie down at all. I just think you could have done without it. But at the same time, it's not bad. I think they have good chemistry, so it works. And it kind of, in a sense, it kind of feels like an old school blockbuster where you have just a random love story thrown in there. Kind of like Top Gun. And I understand why that's an issue for other people. I didn't care that much. I thought it was fine. Now, like I said, the main focus here is the cinematography, is the racing sequences. And they're so good. This movie does a great job of putting you right there in the racing. And I think that is obviously heavily similar to how Top Gun Maverick treated a lot of the fighter jet scenes, where the movie is shot practically. Everything's done practically. You have the cameras put on the planes and you're flying around and you're kind of just there. And this movie does that, but with racing, with the cars. And I think it's fantastic, really. When you're watching all these racing sequences, they're really thrilling. You're right there. The sound in the theater was fantastic. And I found I didn't watch it in D-Box or 4DX or anything. If I did, it would have been really cool. But even in my regular theater, I could feel the seats kind of like moving, vibrating, and it was really cool. All the racing sequences were really thrilling, and I was at the edge of my seat a lot of the time, and I thought that was fantastic. And like I said, the score by Hans Zimmer is fantastic here. It adds to a lot of the sequences. The movie also has a soundtrack with a lot of famous rappers, singers, and stuff like that. And I don't know, some of the songs are pretty good, but I think overall it just kind of felt like they threw a lot of big names into the soundtrack just for the sake of having a lot of popular singers in it, or pop stars in it. Like Ed Sheeran has a song on here. The song isn't great, but like, why do we need a song with him? Tate McRae has a song. Don Toliver has a song. A couple of them are pretty good, but I think overall the soundtrack is just, they kind of just threw a lot of big names in there just for fun. Rose is in it too. So, I mean, it's fine. I don't have a big problem with it. The main focus of the movie, as far as music goes, is really Hans Zimmer's score, and that works fantastically. So I didn't care that much. It's just when I'm listening to the soundtrack on my own, it's like, I really don't know if you had to have all these big names, but at the same time, they did, and some of the songs work, so it's not a big problem. I watched the John Campea show a lot, and I think something Robert Meyer Burnett said on that show really stuck with me. This movie is like cinematic cocaine. It's a movie that you can kind of just watch and kind of get, like, feel like a high. And I think that makes a lot of sense, especially when you watch like the beginning of this movie. The way it's shot is so fantastic. You're like kind of just glued to the screen just purely based on that. But also all the racing sequences, the way everything is, like I said, it's very formulaic. You know what to expect, but it's done so well that you're kind of just transported into the movie. Like the racing sequences, even the story, the characters, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of setbacks, there's accidents and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's so good that you're just kind of transported there. Like I was glued to the screen the whole time. I loved a lot of the things in this movie. It really does feel like cinematic cocaine in the sense that you're just glued. You're addicted to this movie. I could watch this movie over and over. This is really the most hyped up I've been watching a movie this whole year. I think this year the happiest I've been after watching a movie and leaving the theater was Thunderbolts, because that's a movie it's an MCU movie. I'm a giant MCU fan, and it's the first MCU movie in a long time that was really that fantastic. So that was a movie that made me feel that. And then after that, it was this one. This movie made me just really happy because it's not a movie I was expecting much out of, but after watching it, it was so good that after leaving the theater, I was just really happy and hyped up. It's a movie that I guess kind of made me excited about going to the movies again. I've had fun with a lot of movies this year, don't get me wrong. I think it's movies like The Ballerina, Novocaine, or even Thunderbolt, Sinners, and all that stuff. They were really good movies. I really enjoyed them, especially Thunderbolts and Sinners. Those are probably my top movies of the year at the moment. But I think similar to Thunderbolts, this movie just made me so happy after watching it. Really hyped up, and leaving the theater, I was so happy. And the biggest praise I could give this movie is, as someone that's not interested in F1 racing at all, the movie made me want to watch an F1 race and give it a shot. So that's the biggest praise I could give a movie like this. Overall, on a story level, this movie isn't anything fantastic. Like I said, it is very formulaic. It follows the script, but it just does it in the best way possible. I found myself rooting for these characters. I found myself really invested when they had setbacks, and I found myself really happy when we got to the end. So overall, this is a movie that I really enjoyed. For my score, I'm gonna go with an 85%. It's not quite as good as Top Gun Maverick in my opinion, but I think it is kind of the Top Gun Maverick of this summer. What Top Gun Maverick was, I think, in 2022 when it came out, I think this movie was able to deliver that same kind of experience. It's kind of like a dad movie. A lot of people, I heard them calling it that. It kind of makes sense. I really enjoy movies like this, so I think it worked really well for me. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on F1. Let me know down in the comments, what did you think about the movie if you've seen it, and what is your point of reference? Are you someone that watches a lot of F1 racing? Are you someone that doesn't really care that much? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed my review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I'll also leave links in my description for more of my other social media, so go follow me on there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.